Third.
Oh, yeah. Hello and welcome to Off Chain. My name is Jimmy Song, and today is November 16th, 2017, and I forgot my lower third, so I have to go put that on there. But before I do that, let me go do a screen share and tell you sort of the stories that we're looking at today. Well, first of all, Bitstamp. If you look at Bitstamp, we're near, getting near all-time highs again at around 7,500. There's a story about Bitfinex. They may be sort of running a slight Ponzi scheme with their Tether business, and this, Bitfinex has been, criticizing them for a long time now. But this was an article that came out yesterday. Talking more about, possible banking relationships that they might have or might not have. Any thoughts on this, Tone?
Yeah. This is actually interesting. Okay. Can you go back to the top? Hold on, let me make this full screen. I want to pull this up on my end. This just break this morning? Who wrote it?
Well, it's Bitfinex, or Bit Cryptoed or whatever. They've been reporting on Bitfinex for a long time, and they've been asking about what's your relationship with Tether. Their sort of thesis is that they're issuing new Tethers.
Whose relationship with Tether?
Bitfinex. So
as far as I know, Bitfinex owns Tether.
I think they do.
Okay, so here's the thing. So I've avoided the story for a while. Okay, I've avoided it for a while. Now, I've met Phil Potter personally, the CEO of Bitfinex. Okay, now I have also met the prior owners of, not owners, but the creators of Tether. Right, like Tether was initially created as its own, thing, right?
So it runs on the Omni protocol, which used to be called Mastercoin, by the way.
Which is dumb, but that's a different discussion, right? Which is technologically stupid, as far as I'm concerned. So my view on it was, okay, it's a neat idea, so this is how I understood it. You put, you put a bunch of cash in a bank, you create a digital token for companies like, Poloniex and Bittrex, who basically altcoin exchanges that don't hold people's fiat currencies, because these exchanges don't really need bank accounts for their customers, right? And this allows their customers to trade altcoins against something that is 1-to-1 to the US dollar.
That's the idea, yes.
Right, that's the idea, right? So several things go wrong here, okay? So first of all, as far as I knew, the banks that were holding all of the USD were in Taiwan. Now, I don't know where they are now. Like, I don't keep up with the story. I'm just telling you what I know, okay? So they were holding them in Taiwan, and that's where that whole thing happened a few, like a year ago or something, or like 6 months ago, when there was, problems with sending wire transfers from like Taiwan through the US, and then Wells Fargo said we're going to stop doing it. And that's when Tether kind of dropped in price by like 10 to 15%, skewing the price of Bitcoin on all of these altcoin exchanges.
Yes, that's what happened.
Right. So here's what and again, I personally met up with Phil Potter, and I told him my concerns about Tether. And I'm like, well, how can you say that? And the only reason is because I know Bitfinex utilizes Tether as their like USD thing, right? Which I never understood why Bitfinex cared about Tether, because Bitfinex is supposed to be a legit exchange having banking relationships. So why the hell are they involved in Tether? So I couldn't understand why. So I personally tried to explain to Phil Potter how much risk there is in Tether with the money sitting in some Taiwanese bank. Little that I know is that apparently Bitfinex is the owner of Tether, because they took over that project from the original creators of Tether. So this is how Bitfinex is involved, again, to my understanding.
Yeah, and what this article is positing is that they're just sort of printing Tether to cover up for the exchange hack that they suffered a while back. And when they paid back all of their customers, they paid using printed Tether, which would essentially be fractional reserve banking.
Well, okay, so, right. So can we explore that one for a minute, right? So because Tether is just a representation of dollars at a bank, whether it's a US bank or not, and this is the minor dilemma that I have, and I tried explaining it on my channel, is that if, let's say, there really is, let's say 10, or let's give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Let's say there is like 50 or $100 million, that was deposited at a Taiwanese bank with dollars, and you have 100 million Tether. Because dollars are legally fractionally reserved, can't you just, fractionally reserve another $900 million off of the $100 million you have on deposit and create another 900 million Tether? Why? I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, that should be legal, no?
I suppose possibly. I'm not sure how you would do that as the owner of Tether, though, because the fractional reserving, you'd have to be the bank to be able to do that, right?
Well, if the bank lets you, like if the bank lets you borrow the money, right? Like if, let's say you're Bitfinex, you have a nice revenue stream from running the Bitfinex exchange, okay? You have $100 million at a bank. And you're like, hey, we're running a unicorn business. We're going to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Can you loan us based off of the $500 million that we have sitting here at the bank?
Yeah, and they could do that. That might be something that they're doing.
Right. And I mean, I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying like this would not be illegal. And then they
would not be illegal. It would be okay. Yeah.
They would that would not be illegal. They would turn all of that new borrowed money into Tether.
Yeah.
And then they can use it to buy Bitcoin.
Well, so I think they used it to pay back the 70 million which they were hacked on. Remember they put out like Bitfinex tokens and all that stuff. Maybe
Sure. I mean, yeah, they can use it to pay that back, and then they can still have a lot more left over.
Yeah, and that this is what this article is sort of speculating on. And you can look at coin market cap, and you can see that the coin market cap of Tether is almost $600 million.
Can we click on that? Like, I want to see like how much is it expanding, because according to Bitfinex, the chart, is there a chart?
Yeah, there's a chart here. All right.
Can we zoom that out?
Yeah.
There's a thing on the bottom. There is the cursor. Yeah. Just slide the bar, the little white thing, in the blue. On the right, the other. Oh, it's all the way down. Okay.
Yeah.
So right. So the
blue, it keeps going up and up. So it
keeps going up and up. Right. So here's the thing. So the only other thing is, right, every single dollar that Bitfinex makes from the exchange, like as profit, goes directly to creating Tether, which makes no sense to me. Why would you do that?
Yeah, I don't really understand how the economics of this works yet either. But I mean, Bitfinex for certain is raising some really good questions with this article. I encourage you guys to definitely look at this article, and if you do have money on Bitfinex, you should definitely read this article and ask yourself, what is Tether? What the hell is it?
Right. So I need to read, like, I don't have time to like look into the research of Tether, right? But I mean, Bitfinex raises a lot of good points. He's on top of all of it. Now here is the counter argument: is that Bitfinex, and I'm gonna give both sides of the argument here, right? Is that Bitfinex is some kind of a paid troll that has something against Bitfinex itself, right? Now, again, I don't care if Bitfinex is a paid troll. If someone is paying him to do real research, that's how you get real research, okay? Now, I don't understand who is... I mean, Bitfinex has competition from other exchanges, but I find it hard to believe that some other exchange has such a, grudge against Bitfinex that they're going to pay for all this research, especially if this research turns out to be credible.
Yeah, okay? I mean, regardless of who's paying, it is kind of strange. Yeah.
Right. So the other thing that I know is like when I recently tweeted out, I recently took the, I mean, I tried to avoid this issue, but I recently did send out some tweets in support of Bitfinex and pointing out that I don't like Tether. Like I don't like Tether as a project. I think nothing good can come from Tether because sooner or later the government is going to come down hard on Tether. And if there was some kind of maliciousness in printing Tether out of thin air to buy more Bitcoin, the outcome would be like the Mt. Gox Willie bot, propping up the price of Bitcoin until the well runs dry. And then we're looking at an 80% correction because if Bitfinex is correct, then it's all this printed Tether that's propping up the price of Bitcoin. And my suspicions on Bitcoin being overpriced are basically coming from the mempool, right? When I watch the mempool get like borderline dangerously empty throughout all of October, it tells me that there's very little economic activity in Bitcoin. And no, this doesn't mean that everyone is using Litecoin and Bcash. It doesn't mean that at all. It means that people are using those even less. Okay. And like, look, I understand there's lots and lots of speculative usage of Bitcoin, but as far as actual day-to-day commerce usage of Bitcoin, it's tiny. Yeah. It's completely tiny. Like I'm not sure. I mean, to me, if something is priced as it is, that's the price. But I mean, I never thought that Bitcoin would be at this price 12 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, and that's sort of the other thing that I wanted to point out here is our price is nearing what you would call a double top. 7,500 is rapidly approaching, and you can see the chart here, and that's kind of crazy that we had like a $2,000 swing down and then a $2,000 swing back up. So
right now in the latest comments from Bitfinex is that a bunch of Tether was printed right at the low, pumping the price. So he's like, yeah, well, if Tether wasn't printed, Tone would have been right, and we definitely would have gone to 5,000. Which is great. I mean, great that you're trying to defend me, but like, look, the market's the market.
Yeah.
I'm a technical analyst. I'm supposed to be able to pick this up, even if it's bullshit. But look, Bitfinex has done a lot of research. Like,
I mean, it's possible that I guess what you're suggesting is that Bitfinex is doing something close to what the Willie bot did for Mt. Gox way back when.
Right, and I don't like the name because now it sounds like we're both talking about Bitfinex and Bitfinex. So we gotta somehow separate them. So he did write this article. There's another guy. There's multiple of them.
Well, it's BitCryptoed. I think he used to be named Bitfinex. So I think
Bitfinex is the Twitter handle, right? So is there?
Yeah. I think this is the same guy. I think BitCryptoed. Yeah, he is Bitfinex on Medium. So I think it's the same guy. Yeah, he just changed his name to BitCryptoed.
Right, and he is anonymous for for important reasons, right? Because if he turns out to be right, I mean, it's very hard to, go up against people that are, making or printing millions of dollars. I mean, they have resources that will not be, very good for you. Yeah. So I fully understand why he wants to be anonymous, and I've asked him to come on a podcast, but for obvious reasons, he shouldn't do it.
Yeah. All right, so let's look at some other stories. This one is just sort of like a fun one that I think you guys can send to your friends or whatever. This is sort of a quick Bitcoin fact to send to your friends and whatever. I just found this to be very useful to just talk to people. Isn't Ethereum a newer cryptocurrency? Basically, Bitcoin 2.0. That's a false narrative perpetuated by the media, et cetera, et cetera. So these are questions I get asked over and over again. Might just be easier to point them to this fact. Let's see. Bitcoin Cash. I haven't refreshed this page, but I believe it's, yeah. So difficulty is adjusting again. Again, they were too profitable for a while, so now they're back to like 2 or 3 blocks an hour or something like that. And they are still, it's more profitable to mine on the original chain. And largely that's because there's been a price decrease. I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but it broke through sort of that support range that Tone was talking about yesterday, and it continues to go lower. And you can see the effect on Bitcoin. A lot of the mempool has cleared. And, you know, this big drop right here, that's a lot of, you know, hashing power coming back. You can see that we're almost at sort of like normal weekend levels of you know, a few weeks ago. So, you know, by the weekend, I expect a lot of this mempool to clear.
Are you still there, Jimmy?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Tone, can you hear me? Oh boy, I hate it when this happens. Okay, yeah, Tone, can you hear me? I think Tone started sharing his screen and something went wrong. Oh boy.
Did I lose you?
No, I can hear you now. Hello?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. So why don't you talk about that?
Oh, okay. I lost you there for like a few minutes. All right. So I don't know if I'm on the big screen or not, but yeah, this was the triangle that we drew yesterday, right? This was the 4-hour using the 4-hour candles, and it broke down. And the target of this breakdown is, you know, all the way down. So it's are we going to reach that target? I don't know. But I mean, again, right? Like, this is what I try to explain to people. This is what happens when you have an uncontrollable move to the upside. It almost always comes back to test the previous high. So you are looking back at point 1. You're looking back at point 1. And if you're lucky, you'll bounce off of point 1 and go to new all-time highs. If you're not lucky, you go below point 1 and you're totally screwed. Right?
So there's an even bigger descending triangle at play here, huh?
Right. I mean, this is what happens when you go up like that. So there you go. So now you're going down. So amazing how they've all disappeared. And everyone was talking about the flippening when Ethereum came close. You know, when Ethereum came to like, you know, 30-40% of the value of a Bitcoin, everyone starts screaming flippening. Where are those people now? You know, like Bitcoin Cash has like a 2-week run up. Everyone starts talking about the flippening. You know, where the hell are you guys now? Okay, so your coin is going to go back to point 1, and you know they're all going to shut up.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's still another pump to come, but it does look like it's doing pretty badly there. All right, so let me share this other window on the mempool. This is the Bitcoin mempool. You can see that it's gone down quite a bit right there. Oh yeah, I gotta put the camera back on me. Yeah, you can see that it went down quite a bit yesterday, and we're near the same sort of weekend, or I mean, midweek, you know, mempool highs as of you know, a couple weeks ago. I expect this to go down even more over the weekend, so that's really good. And you can see sort of on CoinDance. Let me refresh this because I haven't refreshed this in a little bit. But we are expecting the 2x hard fork to possibly happen at around this time tomorrow. So that will be very interesting if it does happen. And you know, I'll try to bring it to you live and talk to you about some stuff. Anyway, any thoughts on 2x, Tone? Do you think they're still going to have a fork?
Probably, but I don't think it's going to amount to anything. I mean, we haven't heard any exchanges looking to list it. HitBTC is usually up there, and like Bittrex. I don't think anyone cares. I think people are already getting saturated and getting confused. You know, we have Bitcoin Cash Plus, we have Bitcoin Classic coming. I think there is Bitcoin Cash Classic already. But you know what? Yeah, could confuse the branding of Bitcoin Cash. I mean, they're doing it to Bitcoin, so it's fair game to do it to them. If anyone has the time, let them see how it feels.
Yeah, well, we will see. All right, so a couple other stories. These are my last ones, I promise. So Bitcoin Gold, we showed the wallets yesterday. One of them, there were 6 of them, but one of them turned out to have malware, so they took it off. So,
anyone surprised?
Anyone surprised about that? Other kind of sketchy things. This is the Bitcoin Gold Explorer. This is something that somebody tweeted at me. Check out this address. It has a negative balance of negative 34,000 Bitcoin Gold. So Don't know what the hell's happening over there, but if you have a block explorer that's showing a negative balance, you probably need to do some work. Anyway, kind of goes to show, maybe you need to put a few more developer resources into this stuff if you're going to, come up with a new coin and stuff. It's not so easy, is it, guys? Huh? I still remember way back when with Omni, I think, or back then it was called Mastercoin. They had a block explorer, or they contracted out to a bunch of other people and said, hey, we're going to post bounties for all these block explorers. And they had 4 different block explorers that came in, and they paid them out with the Bitcoin that they had raised. And all 4 of them showed like a different balance for this one particular address. This kind of reminds me of the same thing. We don't really know what's going on with that project.
Yeah, well, I also love how decentralized protocols can just rebrand. That was such a dumb project from the start.
Mastercoin, yeah, it was kind of insane. And it still is insane to me. It's
And what do you say about projects built on top of it?
Yeah, like Tether. Yeah,
exactly.
I don't really understand that either. So I was looking for Bitcoin Gold. Let me see if
I will say that supposedly Bitfinex did a full audit on Tether. I mean, I don't have time to look at it. I don't know if it was published. I don't know if it's public. If anyone wants to look at it, and I'm not gonna have like private conversations about this stuff with people. I don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone wants to go public, I mean, sure. If Phil Potter, the CEO of Tether, wants to come on and defend that project, I think Jimmy and I will be more than happy to ask him some real questions.
Yeah. Tone, do you want to talk about the price a little bit?
I guess. I really don't. I honestly don't want to talk about the price, but I will.
All right, let's take a look at price, Tone.
All right, so Tether responsibility or not is kind of irrelevant, right? I still got to do my job. All right, so this is a problem for me as a trader with my trading style, a big problem. So we have a double top. So I'm fully expecting us to go higher. I mean, no doubt in my mind, right? Here's the problem. My problem is that we have just gone up so much. And I really don't like entering my trades that are breaking all-time highs from monster pullback lows. I just don't like it. Like, to me, this is how bulls get trapped. So, as a buy and holder, you don't care. But as a trader, you got a serious problem here. Well, at least for me, like every trader is different, right? I mean, the skills are the same. It's how you use those skills. So for my trading, from my trading experience, I missed my entry right here because I didn't like it. Because I was looking at it as a bull trap after a year's worth of runs. Now, once again, I'm at an impasse because according to my own rules, when you have the situation where you've now had 1, 2, 3 days, and now a 4th day at 7,500, that's not a top. I mean, we're going higher. We're gonna go. I'm fully expecting us to go higher. My problem is that I'm chasing this bullish trade because it has just moved $2,000. Like literally just moved in a blink of an eye. And I don't like to chase. So this creates a bit of a dilemma in that I'm a little nervous about buying all in right here, right? Like I was very confident in a buy right here at 2,800. I was very confident in a buy right here at 4,600. But I'm not as confident here at 5,700, even though by my own rules, it should be a huge buying opportunity because double tops don't last. So multiple problems with me here, besides the one I just described, being you're entering, you're stretching it, and you're entering after a giant move has occurred. The other is the weekly momentum is coming to an end, because in 2 weeks, at the end of the month, you're going to have a weekly 9 inside of a monthly 9. Okay, though I am 2 months ahead of Wall Street, which I explain on my YouTube channel. So I don't know. And then here is the 4-hour chart that also had a 9 this morning, or last night, I should say. And then this morning, it had a reversal candle. But then right now, this reversal candle is being totally ignored. So last night when I did my video, I was hoping for a bit of a pullback, like anything, like a pullback back to 6,800 to give us a nice clean entry across like lower level time frames. And we didn't get it. So once again, I'm stuck at a point where every time it's just things are not lining up for me. Like I like perfect trades, and none of these are perfect. Like here is the gravestone doji, or I always forget, I probably messed that up, but anyway, it's one of these dojis, and if the price goes below this red line, then it's bearish, and I don't expect it to be too bearish. Like at this point, I'm not expecting us to go back to 5,000, but I want to see some kind of pullback. I want to see some kind of a clean buy the dip, even if that dip, is back at like 6,800 or even at 7,000. Like I just want something that where I don't get caught buying a top, right? Like even here, even something like this, right? Like we had a top, and then we came back to it, and then we fell a little bit, then we came back to it, and then you're buying the breakout. Like you're buying a breakout after it established some kind of a base. But they don't have to like establish a base. I mean, this is what kind of happened with the S&P 500. But that was different, right? If I do daily S&P 500, like after the Trump election and some of the other ones, but those were like serious news events. And like here, like where's the election?
Well, you got to go way back for that.
No, right here, right, like right here, right. So here, so we fell into the election. I mean, what helped me during this time was one of these 9s happened the day before the election.
Very nice.
You still there, Jimmy? Or am I losing you again?
Yeah, I'm here, but I think maybe we're having some problems.
Hey man, you there?
I am.
All right, thought I lost you there for a second. So, and then we bounced off of the election, and then we went into a similar situation, right? Like we had a base before the election, where I said this cannot be the all-time high, too many exits, and then we were crashing into the election. I mean, the night of the election in the futures market, we fell all the way down to like here. Or more. No, we fell a lot. We fell like $100. And then we bounced off of the election strong, and then it just kept going up, right? But even here, you had a little bit of a pullback before a breakout, right? So this is what I'm waiting for. Like you even had like these reversal candles. I mean, this is what it reminds me of. Like the current situation in Bitcoin reminds me of this period in the stock market right before the election. Right. So, and I want to see some kind of a base. I want to see some kind of a pullback and then buy the breakout. But hey, we can go to 10,000 tomorrow, and I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I missed it. I missed it. It's just like I like safety. But in reality of the situation, I'm trying to just do Bitcoin. But in the stock market, I would be looking at like other assets. I'm like, you know what? This isn't really tradable for me right now. It's too risky. I'll go trade another stock. Now I know what the altcoiners are saying. Why don't you go trade another altcoin? And the answer is no. That would be just dumb. And I even talked about Litecoin like yesterday on my show, where the daily chart just looks like this.
Oh, it looks like it's wow.
Right. And it was cool because like it bounced off a 9 and then it reversed on a 9. And but yeah, but you're learning technical analysis now, Jimmy. And here's what
oh, that looks like a descending triangle. Oh wow.
So this does not look very good for Litecoin
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. I mean, anything can happen, but I mean, look at the moving average cross here, moving average cross there. I mean, now you came back into the moving average. Now you're going back down. Once you get back to this double bottom, you know, you can hang around here for a while, but things look bad.
Yeah, they do. They do. Well, I mean, it's good to see all that stuff, Tone. Thank you for your market analysis, and thank you to the almost 600 live viewers that we had today. We certainly discussed quite a lot of stuff. Hopefully, we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll be talking about 2x, whether or not it happened. Actually, it'll probably happen after the show. So. Anyway, I might try to go live with Tone on that and see if we can detect anything. I'm sure there's like a Bitcoin hard fork monitor or something like that that we can look at and sort of keep track of. But thank you to everybody. Tone, anything else before we wrap up?
No, I should probably go and read that, at least that article. Like I know Bitfinex has sent me a bunch of his research. I just don't have the time. So, but I do advise people to be diligent. Like I never thought Tether was a good idea. So like I'm not gonna defend it. Really, I was kind of somewhat defending it, but like I don't care. Like I think Tether is a systemic risk to the entire ecosystem. Like I don't think Tether makes anything better. And yeah, I understand the statements on Bitfinex website that they're saying, well, we get to choose who we redeem Tether to because they don't want some serious criminal showing up with a bunch of Tether, putting them on the legal hook. But my reply to that is, then why the hell are you involved in this? Let decentralized things be decentralized, and two, make it clear who you will and won't redeem Tether to, right? Like make it clear that you have to be an institutional investor. You got to have some minimum requirements. You have to have a bank account. Like make it clear who's allowed to redeem Tether. And by those conditions, you can make it clear that individual people cannot redeem Tether, but institutions can. Like is let's say Bittrex or let's say BTCE. Is BTCE allowed to redeem Tether? Like the question is, we don't know. It's way too subjective for me, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like it.
All right. Well, thank you for your insight, Tone, and I want to thank everybody for watching. Well, I am going to try very hard to dual broadcast this thing to mine and Tone's channel by tomorrow. But anyway, thank you very much. And this song is